The last fly of US Air Force C-5A. The sky falls. The tragedy of Operation Babylift, April 4, 1975, near Tan Son NT Air Base, Saigon, South Vietnam. The air was thick with the humidity of Saigon's early April heat, the kind that clung to your skin and made every breath feel heavy. The vast military complex at Tan Son Nhut Air Base buzzed with urgency. The city was seeing the end of the Vietnam War, and the North Vietnamese army was getting closer. For those who remained in the city, the weight of survival was on their shoulders at every moment as the fall of Saigon loomed like a storm on the horizon. Captain Ellen Harper, a 32-year-old Air Force nurse, stood on the tarmac, her clipboard firmly pressed against her chest, as Operation Babylift, an effort to evacuate thousands of orphans to safety in the United States and other countries, was taking place in the midst of the chaos. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, though a few strands had escaped in the humidity sticking to her forehead. She'd been stationed in Saigon for nearly a year, working in the base hospital, patching up wounded soldiers and civilians alike. But today, mission was different. Today, she was part of a team tasked with escorting 243 children, most of them infants and toddlers, out of a war zone aboard a massive Lockheed C-5A Galaxy. The C-5A loomed behind her, its hulking gray frame casting a shadow over the tarmac. It was an engineering marvel that could carry hundreds of troops, tanks, and helicopters, making it one of the world's largest aircraft. Today, its cavernous cargo bay had been converted into a makeshift nursery. Volunteers, nurses, medical professionals, and civilian aides moved among rows of bassinets and cribs to secure blankets and examine the children's charts. The plane carried 328 souls in total, the children 85 crew and medical personnel, and a handful of journalists documenting the historic evacuation. Ellen glanced at her watch, 3:45 p.m. The flight was scheduled to depart in 15 minutes. As the last of the children were carried aboard by Vietnamese orphanage workers whose faces were etched with a mix of relief and sorrow, she scanned the runway. Many of these women had raised these children as their own, but they knew this flight was their best chance at a future away from the encroaching war. Captain Harper, a voice called, the co-pilot of the flight, Major Tom Reynolds, was jogging toward her. His flight suit was already damp with sweat, his face lined with the exhaustion of weeks spent flying evacuation missions. "We're almost ready. You got everything squared away with the kids?" Ellen nodded, flipping through her clipboard. "All 243 accounted for. The medical tests are finished. Most are stable, but we've got a few with fevers. I've got meds on hand if they spike during the flight." "Good," Tom said, wiping his brow. "This bird's a beast, but she's not built for this many passengers, let alone kids. We're testing her to the limit." Ellen forced a smile. "She'll hold. She must." She received a brief nod from Tom as he moved toward the cockpit. Ellen turned back to the aircraft, her eyes catching on a young Vietnamese woman standing near the cargo ramp. While whispering softly to him in Vietnamese, the barely adolescent woman held a young child in her arms. The boy's dark eyes were wide, his small hands clutching a stuffed elephant. Ellen approached, her boots clicking against the tarmac. "You okay?" she asked gently. The woman looked up, her eyes glistening. She spoke in sluggish English. "His name is Min. He likes to be held when he sleeps." "Please, look after him." Ellen's throat tightened. She applied pressure to the woman's shoulder. "I will. I promise." The woman handed Mince over, her fingers lingering on his cheek before she stepped back, tears streaming down her face. Ellen cradled the boy, his warmth a small comfort against the weight of the moment. She carried him up the ramp and into the cargo bay where the C-5's engines were already starting to hum and the airframe was vibrating. Inside, everything was in order and chaos. Nurses and volunteers moved quickly, securing children in their seats and cribs. The older kids, some as old as 7 or 8, sat in rows along the side of the cargo bay, their eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. Ellen strapped Min into a bassinet, tucking his stuffed elephant beside him. She checked his chart, 2 years old, healthy, no known family. Like so many others on this flight, he was alone in the world. At 4 p.m. the cargo ramp began to close.